Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hosts Melanie Johnson and Jen Foster are the owners of Elite Online Publishing. They're both Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling authors. We're really glad you're here because this podcast was designed for you. Meet industry experts that share their secrets and strategies. Get successful results for your business in money, relationships, health, and your life. Each episode is going to inspire you to take action towards reaching your greatness.
Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast today. I'm Melanie Johnson, your host, along with Jen Foster. Hey Jen.
Hey everyone, how's it going today?
Oh man, it's fantastic. We have one of my favorite people in the world on today, and we are talking about transitioning. There's so many people that have either maybe lost their job, tired of their job, not sure what their purpose is or what they want to do. And they're like, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Or maybe they're getting pushed out of their job and they're like, I have to totally rediscover myself. And it's a big deal and a big conversation that's going on. So Larry Barton, like I said, dear friend of mine, that happened to him. And he just transitioned so beautifully. So he's going to tell us his journey and secrets to doing that. Larry, thanks for coming today and joining us.
Melanie, thank you so much. It's awesome to be here. Thank you very much, Jen.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the field you're in right now.
So once again, Larry Barton, and that's Larry with one R. I have been blessed all my life to have just a number of mentors and an awesome life coach. And so I had 42 years with one company. And, the last couple of years were a little rough. And I thought, I need to do something. So I told my life coach, I said, look, I'm going to retire. And he said, no, you need 15 months to plan this. You need 15 months. He says, you need to be productive. You like being with people. It doesn't matter whether you have enough money to retire. There's so much more to retirement, right, than having money. You need to have a purpose, right, every day. And so I said, okay. I came home. A dear friend called and said, guess what I did today? And I said, no idea. She said, I got my real estate license. I said, you know what? I think I'll do that. So while I was working, on the weekends at night, I took the real estate test online. And you know what? I started smiling. I got happier. I was learning. Something was totally different than what I'd done for 42 years. And I made a decision. I called a good friend and I said, hey, I think about going to real estate. I want to go with Martha Turner Sotheby's. It's the best. And he said, that's where I work. I said, yeah, that's where I'm calling you. He said, let's be partners. And that was 2 years ago.
And you know what I love about that is you just embraced it. And it's like you were growing, right? You decided to do something new and it made you excited because you had personal growth throughout the whole journey. And you weren't really looking for a team necessarily, but how did being aligned with someone who had a bunch of experience already, you were new kid on the block, right? Kind of green behind the ears. How was that helpful that you were aligning yourself with somebody who was an expert already versus just doing it on your own?
So, for 42 years, I got to be a shining star for a big part of that, right? The biggest award at my company was the Eagle. And, being an Eagle for many years, here I was coming into a brand new industry, right? It's sales, but it's still a new industry. And I thought, I like being the best. If I'm going to do something, I want to be the best. Let's partner with somebody with some experience. So my business partner is 40. I'm not. He's Hispanic. I'm not, right? And he loves operations. I'm done. I love to kiss babies and shake hands. And so we make an awesome team and it's worked out beautifully, right? We basically bring in equal amounts of business. We split everything right down the middle. And there's no concern about the other one, who's working harder, who's not working harder. We all bring something to the table. And it just worked out absolutely beautiful.
I love that synergy. Melanie and I have that. And it's all about having the two different assets. You bring something to the table, he brings something to the table, and it just works.
I tell you, we're not best friends outside the office. In fact, we don't do much of anything together. We're crazy about each other, but it's business and we're having fun with it. And that's what both of us wanted to do, was to bring some fun in our lives, to take some of the away, right? And get up every morning going, I'm really still having fun. In fact, I tell everybody now, I truly am living my best life. And I think this is the life that God wanted me to lead, and it's working. I mean, I wake up with a smile on my face. I get to go meet somebody new every day. I get to show some of the most beautiful homes in Houston that you've ever seen. I'm partnering with reps, or agents rather, from Sotheby's all over the world, not the country, but all around the world. 81 offices, 81 countries we're in, 1,065 offices. If you want to buy or sell something anywhere around the world, I can find a Sotheby's rep for you. So it's being the best. It's working for the best, and feeling like you are living your best life, and that you're able to give your best, and having the confidence of a tenured partner, somebody with 15 years in the business, gives me that confidence.
That's awesome. So what kind of mindset did you have to have when you first started to learn, when you were like, oh, I'm going to take the real estate license exam? Like, what kind of mindset did you have to go in for that? Because I think that would be a little scary for someone who's been working at a different place, totally different industry for that long.
So it was not just one thing, right? It's always a series of things. And so number one, they had changed the company up a little bit. We had some new management, and things weren't, they weren't great. But I thought, you know what? They're changing things up, but I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to see what this is all about. I'm going to learn everything I can. So they introduced a whole bunch of video tools, a whole bunch of cold calling tools, right? And I learned them, right? I partnered with a couple of folks within the company, and I built some phenomenal friendships, right? Learned a lot about cold calling, networking, phone lists, et cetera. Now, mind you, this was all during COVID. So, I made 1,000 phone calls with my other company, one return phone call. So it was a little discouraging, right? But I still kept a great attitude. And, I was blessed with, I think I was born, my mother told me I came out of the womb selling, right? I was trying to sell the doctor something. So this sales mentality I have has always kept me upbeat, right? Because life is good. It really is really good. And when you have these opportunities that are presented in front of you, your friend calls and says, guess what? I just got my license. Oh, wait a minute. I just came from my life coach's office. He said, you need to find something to do. And I thought, this is not a coincidence, So as I was taking the test, it kept doing a smile on my face. And my mother said, she was 94 at the time. She said, 93. She said, you haven't smiled in 2 years. I don't know what you're doing. As long as it's legal, you just keep doing it, right? Because I didn't really tell anybody what I was doing. I was just trying to see if dipping my toes in the water, and it made all the difference in the world. You would think that it would be difficult to transition, and maybe I'm just the exception to the rule, but it wasn't. I mean, I came in, everybody at Sotheby's is so nice. They are all so nice, also willing to help. There's not, certainly where everybody's competitive, right? But you don't see it. Everybody wants to help. And I think that kind of environment just continues to help you grow.
You were really lucky too, because someone gave you that call and said real estate, and it had a ding in your head. And some people, like I know a couple people who have lost their jobs, got pushed out from their company after 25, 30 years. And they're like, I just don't know what to do, and they don't know, they haven't had that ding yet to get him there. So you were really fortunate when it came to that.
Can I tell you a small story?
Yes.
So I go to an open house, right? And I think, once again, I'm a spiritual guy, and that I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but I'm a spiritual guy. And I think everything happens for a reason. And there's these wonderful lessons that can come out of things that happen, good and bad, right? So I go to, one of the agents can't go to a showing. At the last minute, they call me. I rush out to Memorial. I go see the folks. Nice looking couple. They've got a 10-year-old daughter. The agent's with them. The daughter and the agent and the mother go off in another part of the house. The man looks at me. He says, how long have you been doing this? And I said, literally about a year. And he goes, really? What did you do before? I said, 42 years in outsourcing. He said, how did you do that? I just got let go, right? I'm an attorney. I work in the medical industry. And how did I've got money, but my 10-year-old daughter needs to see me going to work every day, right? I want her to get a grasp for, that you have to go out and earn your living. I said, you know what? I've got a great life coach. Her name is Dawn Nelson. And I said, you've got to call Dawn. Well, guess what? He called Dawn. I saw him this week for the first time since that. It's almost been a year. And he started his own practice. He's doing phenomenal. He had a big smile on his face. And so, I think that these things happen to us so that we can tell other people about it, pay it forward, right? And when you hide your stories or when you hide your light, about what happened to you, the good or the bad, you're denying somebody else the opportunity that might actually help them and give them that spark they need to change their life. And lo and behold, it happened with him. In other situations in real estate, the same thing has happened. And I've told the same story. And so nothing happens by accident. I'm here for a reason.
I just love that. You know what? Don't hide your pain or your successes. You do have to pay it forward. And that's really, I think, I always think you're known for, Larry, is this connector, right? Because you're always paying it forward. You're not expecting anything back in return. How do you become this great connector? What's your connector philosophy?
So, in my other chapter 1, right, I would always tell people, hey, if you need somebody to cut your hair, you need a new car, you need a new roof, whatever you need, call me, I'll find somebody. But at some point, you're going to actually call me and need some IT outsourcing, right? And so I wanted to just always thinking about calling Larry, right? So over the years, Melanie, you know me, I love to meet new people, right? I pity the person that sits next to me on the plane, right? Because I'm going to get to know them, right? And we're probably going to be buds. But that's just always been my way. I think every daddy used to tell me, Larry, if you will just shut up long enough, everybody's got a story, but you've got to shut up long enough for them to tell you. And so those words ring in my head all the time. My mom and dad were great role models, right? They were just salt of the earth. And thank God I got a little bit of that. And I just love people.
I think that's what it comes down to, because when you love people, then you do want to listen to their story and then share your story too. So I think that's kind of that exchange back and forth. So I like that. That's awesome.
So you asked a while ago about, how did you get through the transition, et cetera. I think one of the most important things in life is having a good self-image, right? A positive self-image, a positive self-esteem, some self-confidence, not cocky, but to be self-confident, right? Well, I've done some work on myself over the years, right? I've been with a life coach for a long time, and that has given me some confidence about myself that, people would say, I wish you could see what we see, right? And all of a sudden, after 20 years of doing this, I actually believe what they say, right? And so I think I have something special to offer. And if it's just a smile, right? If it's just a friendly word to somebody, there are so many people in this world that never hear a positive word, that never see a smile, and because they don't have support groups like we do. And so that's one of the reasons I believe I'm here. I think I can give that smile probably too often, but I can also give that friendly word.
Yeah, I like that you said that, because I think a lot of times people think, oh, that's just their personality, that's how they are. But no, you're saying you worked on yourself, you worked on how to have that confidence and how to have that self-esteem. It doesn't come naturally. You have to work on yourself. And I like that you said that, because I think a lot of times people think, oh, that's just their personality, that's how they are. But no, you've grown to that person, right?
So I had the bravado in the beginning, right? I was in sales, and I had a father who was a Marine and an oil executive. And, I had the bravado, but it was not backed up on the inside. So, something difficult happened in my life. And I said, I need to go talk to somebody. So I went and I said, I don't care how long it takes, how much money it costs. I want to become the best Larry Barton I could be. So still go to the life coach, right? And it's the best money I've spent, because if you don't invest in yourself, right, then how do you invest in others? How do you build others up? How do you be the best at whatever you do? How do you live your best life if you don't actually know who you are? My life coach said, you had this bottomless bucket of self-esteem. So it didn't matter how many cars, houses, money, sales, whatever. None of that mattered. But slowly over a period of time, we put a bottom on that bucket of self-esteem. Now there are pinholes in it, right? And so things slip through, but he helped me build a bucket of self-esteem where I actually can believe in myself, and I can believe the nice things that others say. And I truly believe that without that foundation, it is hard to go through life and face the trials and tribulations that happen, to be that positive force for other people and really mean it. Really, you got to walk the walk and talk the talk, right?
Yeah. And, Larry, you and I had an instance this past weekend where we were going to meet for dinner, and my phone went upside down, and you were insistent, no, you're going to take care of it now, get it done now. And we were both of that mindset of just, bad things happen, but we're moving forward, right? Always keep moving forward.
But you had a series of things that week and you still
Oh,
had
yeah.
a smile on your face, right? You were calm and cool and your phone had blown up, right? So, I mean, so admire that ability. But I feel, Melanie, knowing you as long as I have, I feel that much of what I've said is what you've gone through. You've had some tragedies in your life, right? But you always triumph, right? You've always got the smile. You're always giving back to others. And I think that's one of the secrets of life.
I think it's so true. And I think if you're in that stage where you're trying to figure out what your reinvention is, I think some of the key takeaways you gave is really keep working on yourself. Having that person that you can talk to and sound off and keep growing. If you're constantly growing and looking for those signs, like yours was like, oh, someone called me. They could have just called me and talked about real estate and you would have not had a ding at all, but you are aware, being aware of different things in the universe that are happening to you and calling out to you and people telling you things. My dad used to say, God talks to you. He talks to you sometimes through other people. Sometimes he gives you ideas in your head. It's just about you paying attention. He's going to give you all the answers you need. You just have to pay attention.
Melanie, my life coach says to me, you have the best gut I've ever seen. Follow your gut. And I have done that all my life. And if you're enjoying yourself and you're having a good time, right, and you're helping those around you be successful and you're having a good time, then, you know, the money will come, right? If the happiness is there, the money will come.
I like what you just said, because if you have happy, then the money will just come, which is true, because if you're stressed all the time and you're feeling, you know, like the scarcity, then more scarcity is going to come to you because that law of attraction. But when you're happy and you feel abundant, then abundance is going to come to you.
Dad used to say that success in life is watching other people become successful and knowing you had a part in it, not telling the world that you had a part in it, but just actually knowing it in here. And so I struggle with that. I, you know, still talk about it a little bit, but that's one of the best things in life. And Melanie, from what you told me about Jen, y'all do the same thing. That when you see others become successful through making them a bestseller, right, through your publishing company, then, I mean, how would anybody love to be introduced, right? Hey, here's Larry Barton, a #1 bestseller, right, on the New York Times. Who wouldn't like to be introduced that way? I can't imagine the joy that comes to y'all every time that happens. And I know it happens a lot.
Yeah. And we love what we do. It's kind of like you said, it puts a smile on our face. Jen and I are having fun with what we do. We love spending time with each other and the energy and our staff. And it's just a joy. And then we get to do this podcast with people like you and we get to learn. It's our like secret continuous growth. Like people think we're doing something for them by having them on the podcast. And I go, Jen, you know, every week we're getting like personal coaching from people. It's kind of this back and forth, like they don't realize it, but we're learning so much by just doing this as well.
Well, I will tell you that, you know, Melanie, the number of people that you've had that you all have helped write books, right? And you've explained how that process works, and there is a process to it. I believe there's a book in everybody. In fact, you know, I've told you this. I think I have 3 or 4. So you sent me that great how to get started in writing a book, right? And I think, you know, it's going to pop out. That story is going to pop out. And your process of how you pull that out of people and pull that story out is absolutely beautiful. And I think you all have podcasts on that, some YouTubes on your channel.
Yes, we do.
Awesome.
We definitely do that. You can look us up. Well, Larry, tell us where people can reach you.
Well, you know, Melanie, another one of my joys, I'm not great at social media, right? So, but I like it. I think it's fun. I think videos are fun. And so I hired a social media guy. So we have Instagram, Larry Barton Realtor. That's Lary Barton, Barton, Realtor, one word. On Facebook, we've got my personal page, which is Larry Barton. And on my business page, it's Larry D. Barton. And then LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn is a great tool. That's also Larry Barton. And so you know, reach out if you've got questions about real estate or getting your hair cut or a new car or where to go to the best publishing company in town. Call me. I'd love to help you answer it. And if you're a good life coach, call me. I'll give you one of those too.
Larry's connected to everybody.
Yeah. We'll put those links up in the bio and in the show notes so people can go and click there and connect with you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, Larry. And if you're looking to become an author, reach out to us at eliteonlinepublishing.com and we will help you become a #1 bestseller. We'll see you next time. Have a great week, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.